All right, here we go. Welcome to Shots Fired with Joey Kola. I got some great guests today. My nephew / cousin. Well, you know what? You're my cousin's son, so technically you're my cousin, or you're my nephew.
Nephew.
We call each other cuz.
Yeah.
That's, but nephew, right? So Mikey's here, Mikey Scudiero. He's an intern on the show. He's a guest on the show. He's part of this show, and I love him. He's blood, but he knows more about sports than anybody I know. And how old are you now?
I'm 22 now.
You're 22 now. But he knows more, and he has his own show at his college radio station and everything. So I wanted him to be part of this. So here he is. Mike, say hello. Say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody?
Good. Now, listen, you just did the last 24 hours have been a whirlwind for you. Because you left to go to Florida to go to a sports convention because you're in college now and you're looking to make a career out of sports broadcasting, whether it's on radio or on TV, and you had an opportunity. So tell us about what happened.
Yeah, so on Friday I just got off the radio doing my show with my friend at Five Towns, and I get a text message from this guy that my dad knows, and my dad told me, he's like, this guy wants you to head down to Florida tomorrow.
Wow.
And I've never traveled alone by myself, let alone do something like a day before, get notification like you're going here tomorrow.
A career move.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's like, at this place, you'll be able to make connections. It was the Celebrity Pro Bowl basketball game.
Right.
There were a lot of celebrities there. Floyd Mayweather was there.
Wow.
Joey Fatone was there.
Wow. He's not exactly a sports guy.
No, but there were a lot of just celebrities in general.
Although the way he danced, it was like, ain't no lie, baby, bye, bye, bye. That was very athletic.
That was amazing.
How about that?
Moments of music.
I know my NSYNC stuff.
Yeah, but so there were a lot of celebrities there. They played a basketball game. That was a lot of fun. And I got to chat with a lot of people. It was really cool. Made my connections.
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather was maybe five feet away from me on the court, which was really cool. I didn't really get a chance to talk to him or ask for a picture because, he doesn't really like to associate with a lot of people. He looked to go in the locker room when there was no play, then just came right back out when there was play.
Right.
Didn't really talk to many people, but it was really cool experience.
Were there a lot of people in the broadcasting business that can hire you to be a broadcaster? Is that what was going on?
Yeah, there were a lot of sports commentators on the side. I spoke to a few of them, and I made my connections there. But most of them were just like casual people. It wasn't like exactly what I thought it was, but it was. There were still a lot of connections that I made, and it was a lot of fun for that reason.
Yeah.
Sports commentators and like Floyd Mayweather, big athlete, of course.
Yeah. You think you can call boxing at some point? I mean, you want to call baseball, but can you call boxing, you think?
I'm sure I could.
Yeah.
It would be fun.
Yeah, you've called games. You call basketball all the time.
Absolutely, my school,
stuff.
a lot of
Do you
play-by-play.
like calling basketball better than baseball? Or?
Well, I haven't really gotten to call a baseball game yet.
Oh, okay.
But I have, in my head, if you look to be a commentator, you watch a game and you commentate in your head to get an idea of how good or bad you'd be.
Yeah.
And I've done that before, so I think I would have more fun with that because baseball's my heart.
Right, yeah.
So.
Like you compare Jeter to Mattingly hitting-wise, and what would you say about that?
Well, Jeter's my favorite player of all time, so that's
so
a little biased there.
Yeah. We're also here with John Blenn, one of my best friends in the world. I know John, how many years now? I'm doing comedy 38 years, so I got to know you 38 years.
You got to be 35 or so,
something
36.
like that. And John actually used to edit and write a great publication here on Long Island, actually in the tri-state area, Good Times. So you reviewed comics, you all entertainment, not only just stand-up comedy, and not only in interviewing them, you also are a writer, a great photographer, you're a teacher. I call you a journeyman. You're the one guy I know who has so many different occupations, and you do well at all of them. And the main thing is, through all these years of doing all these things, that you're greatly respected. You have the respect of every entertainer, whether it's a comedian, a musician, a magician, actors, they all respect you. And I
have a couple
that.
guys out there who are definitely not friends that we don't go to the same barbecue, but you know what? That goes with the territory. And the thing that most people don't wrap their heads around in this business is that a journalist's job is to try and be as objective and as fair as possible, but you're going to criticize people sometimes. Yeah. Nobody wants that kind of criticism.
Right.
And they get really upset about that. And I mean, I've been on both sides of the ball as a playwright, as a screenwriter, as an actor, where you're pitching yourself at somebody, you want acceptance, you want somebody to write something about you.
Right.
So you have to be prepared. You're not going to find everybody receptive to what you do, and you can't really take that personally.
No.
We waste so much of our lives trying to win over people who don't like us.
Yeah.
and we waste that time where we should be looking for the people who would like us, that we never meet them.
That's
because
so
we're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
I'm going to get that guy to like me. It's the last thing I ever do.
Yeah.
Well, there's 8 months of your life that you're going to pointlessly flush down the toilet.
Yeah.
Go down the block. They might start a fan club for you.
How sick is it? Well, how as sick of a cruel joke is it that you and I, you're going to be 60, I'm 57, when we were Mikey's age, that we were all like, we wanted to please everybody because what happens if I don't do this? Well, and now we get to this age and we go, what the hell are we thinking about? Why was I wasting so much time trying to please that asshole when I know that just pleasing myself would have got me to the same place? My friend Sallie's here too. Sallie and Tony are here. Tony Walker's to my right, always. Sallie's right over there. Luckily, they're the ones who are teaching me how to do this podcast stuff. Sallie and Tony and Eric was lucky enough to be on their podcast. So thank you guys.
We have no idea what we're doing, by the way.
No, seriously, you guys are the first couple of Long Island podcasts. There's no question about it.
I never thought of that.
And Sally's always
we're
like Sonny and Cher.
Yeah,
Sonny and Cher podcast.
Sally's the voice of reason too. She's the voice of reason. Like whenever a podcast goes too much to the left or the right, up and down, sideways, Sallie goes, "Hey guys,
I'm like,
steer the rudder, bring the
God,
rudder,
yeah.
go this way with it." But you're so right, man. How much time is wasted? If I was Mikey's age again, man, I'd bring it back and I'd really, really think harder as to who I'm pleasing and why. You know what I mean? And try to get it back inward to myself. I mean, you want to show love. The first thing is we got to take care of other people. You know me. I'm a big spiritual guy. I believe in the teachings of Christ, so I follow that closely. And there's a piece in the Bible where Christ says, "Anybody who helps me, meaning God, anybody who helps, if you help even the least of my brothers, you're doing it for me," which is kind of making points. But I mean, you get saved by grace and. I don't even want to go into that deep right now. But what you're talking about is how we try to give over, try to take care of each other as you would yourself, and you realize that sometimes you're going down a rabbit hole. It doesn't make sense. And you do it on so many different levels. You had the journalistic stuff going on where you had to review people's performances. Again, like you said before, people are going to like it. They're not going to like it. If you say good, you say bad. People cannot take criticism. And then you're going to write a play, and some people are going to look at it and go, genius. Other people are going to look at it and go, what the hell is this shit? But the fact is that you put yourself out there so much and make yourself vulnerable, which that's what show business is. It's any kind of show business, whether you're in sports, any aspect of show business, it's all about the vulnerability.
Well, I'll tell you, Joe, as to the subject of negative reviews, the second play I ever put up was a piece called Trailer Park Etiquette. I did it at a theater over in Merrick, the stage. There was a reviewer at that point named Carl who came down to see it, and he gave us a pretty negative, about as negative a review as you could give in Merrick Life, because they weren't really like butcher jobs,
right.
But they were
Small
pretty
local
clear they didn't
paper.
like something. Yeah, I actually ran into him in a supermarket, and the guy panicked because he thought I was coming down the aisle to like pound him. And actually, I wanted to shake his hand because I walked up to him and I went, "Carl, that was great. Thank you." He's like, look, maybe I like the next one better. I'm sorry if you're upset. I go, I'm not upset. He's like, look, if you just calm down. I was like, no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And what he did was this comedy that I had written. He said, for those who like Taming of the Shrew or Shakespeare or this other type of comedy, they're not going to like it. But if you like television sitcoms, it's more that type of speed. Well, that's what I was aiming at.
Yeah.
I wanted the 20-something that doesn't usually go to the theater.
Right.
I wanted the kids who are like, wow, this is kind of like cooler than like regular TV, because at the time there's hardly any cable activity in terms of comedy where you could stretch out, be a little bit more raw, a little bit more edgy. Mm-hmm. So he described it so perfectly, anybody could pick this review up and went, oh, I get it. I disagree with this writer, or I get it. Thank you for saving me $12 at the door. I'm not going. And it was perfect. Yeah. And that's what a reviewer's supposed to do. If you write a review, this stuff sucks. They should be working at Tom McCann's Kill Yourself Before You Make Another Album. Yeah. You're not doing the job. Right. But if you break it down on, hey, the rhythm section's a little bit off, the vocals could be better, constructive criticism is really important. You got to learn to embrace that. I have listened to every single piece of criticism anybody's ever thrown at me in my life, and immediately taken that down and kind of went back, reviewed it, thought about it. I didn't always change things. I didn't always agree with it, but I listened to it because that's the only way you get better.
Tom McCann dated you a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
It's so funny. They got this thing, Me TV now, where they show like all these old shows. Yeah. And I was watching Andy Griffith the other day, and exactly what you're talking about. Barney gave the governor a ticket. You know, and he didn't know it was the governor when he was like, oh, I'm going to give it the governor. Then he found out it was the governor. He's like, oh, should I do this? And then his friends like on the street were like, what are you doing, man? You're going to do it anyway? Oh, you're not going to do it, the governor? He goes, yeah, you know what? I don't care if it's the governor. I'm giving him a ticket. So he gives me, then he regrets it. And like a couple days later, Andy gets a call. The governor's coming to town to see Barney. He's like, oh, shit. Barney's in trouble now. So he mistakenly gets drunk because Otis leaves vodka in the water thing instead of water, and
it happened anyway.
Yeah, and to see Don Knotts was just one of my favorites.
Genius.
I love character actors. Him, Lou Costello. So anyway, the governor shows up to congratulate him for giving him the ticket.
Right, for doing
Thanks
the right
for having
thing.
the guts and the balls to give me the ticket, even though I'm the governor. I did something wrong. If the car was parked illegally, it was parked illegally. So I just connected those two things in my head. So I've had a lot of coffee today, by the way.
I basically live my life off the teachings of Andy Griffith, so I get it.
Yeah.
But they don't make shows like that anymore.
They don't.
I just recently watched Gilligan's Island for the first time in probably 20 years and laughed my ass off. Even now.
Yeah.
You know, it was so silly and ridiculous compared to TV now.
But it was a true story, though, wasn't it?
Exactly.
The music made you happy. Like the music going into the
Yeah, nobody has great theme songs anymore.
There's no great
Nobody
theme
has
songs.
theme.
Right.
I think Kevin can wait. Probably the last
Mike
one to have a
Scudiero
good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Yeah.
Anybody got a time machine?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Go back there.
Because they're so quick. They come in with the dialogue as soon as the show starts. Everything is so quick and fast. They don't take the time.
They don't even put commercials in between shows anymore.
Right.
Like one show ends and you're already in another show because they don't want
Right.
to lose you because the attention span of people watching it is so quick.
What'd you say?
Yeah,
What was that?
They don't want to lose the people. They want to keep
Right.
it here, keep it here.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous. But Mike? What shows do you watch? You watch TV now? What shows you watch?
I usually just watch a lot of sports shows or movies.
That's
honestly.
it. That's your thing, right? Yeah.
There aren't too many great things on TV anymore. I know The Office is a funny show, but that was done already.
Yeah,
that
you
was
got to
a
watch
Netflix special.
Yeah, you got to watch repeat.
It's all reruns.
You can watch stuff on Netflix and pop all that stuff up again. But now the sky's the limit, man. Like when I was Mikey's age and you were Mikey's age, we were Mikey's age.
Yeah.
Who knew that you're going to be able to press a button on a little box and pop up the various snakes of Costa Rica?
Right.
Who knew that I could see anything in the world I want whenever I want?
Right.
That's it. I can't touch it. I can't feel it. But so let's say I'm handicapped and I can't get to a place. I could climb the mountains of Peru if I wanted to, just by looking at a little box like this. It's mind-blowing, which makes me think about how close our souls, outside of our physical bodies, are close to whatever realm is just beyond where we are. There's got to be a realm. Whether let's say you don't believe in evolution, and like the Big Bang Theory. All right, well, someone had to make the thing that exploded to make all these planets that spin around perfectly, and this Earth that's this far away from the sun and angled in a certain way with this much water and this much sun and this much green and this much. It's so perfectly put there that there's got to be something else that bigger than us that made that, whether it's supernatural or God or whatever you want to call it. Something had to put this stuff together now. And I got a feeling, I don't know about you, in my gut I feel that we are close to pinnacling out on that. Like getting close to some real answers that are going to go through the soul and the brain connection.
Well, considering roughly 110 years, 120 years, we went from no telephone to cell phones.
Yeah.
And that technology, that somebody came up with the concepts to create a circuit board for a computer.
Right.
So
we can't even explain a lot of it now.
How far can we go and how much can we learn and what can we break through? I mean, the possibilities are limitless.
You can only explain to a certain extent electricity. Like it comes from there, goes through a wire, and these things light up. But you can't really explain that. We can't even explain how a lightning bug lights up. Like a firefly. We don't know what's in that juice that's in that bug that lights that thing up. We don't know that. There's so much more we got to know. And forget about the oceans in the middle. I want to know why a planet, that the middle of our planet is nothing but burning gases. It's lava. It's like that alone And yet the outside is cool. Yet we got ice caps over here. How the hell does that happen? Could you imagine holding a hot rock, like the middle of it is boiling, yet the outside is cold? You can't explain a lot of this shit. There's only one way to explain it, is that what I personally do is I go to the Bible and I try to find answers in there. But all of that evolutionary stuff and stuff of the planet the way it is now isn't really there in front of us either. It was 1,396 years from Moses to Christ. Now, from Christ to us is 2,018 years, much more than 1,396 years. So I think we're due for some serious shit to come down and happen. So what I do personally is open my mind and my soul for everything to come in to try to digest it, while I'm trying to keep myself happy, physically, mentally, satisfied with chocolate, with Nutella, meatballs. I'm out of breath.
Most people are trying to remember. Most people are just trying to remember where they left the car keys. So
I just want to watch a Met game. What the holy moly!
If there's a team, I
if
know.
only Carl Sagan had more time. If only Hawking was still here.
Yeah,
Well, to bring it all full circle, you're talking about technology and old TV shows. We're going to be living like the Jetsons. So now the whole conversation is full circle. Done.
There you go.
Well, we're going to need flying cars for the Long Island Expressway. We
Yeah,
needed them
there you
about
go.
2 decades
Yeah,
ago.
wow.
So.
Dude, I was on the Cross Bronx last night. Oh my God! When you go when you leave Queens and you go to the Bronx and you heading towards the George Washington Bridge, they have an area called the apartments, where there's apartments on the over.
Right.
Those people listening that don't know about this roadway, there's a place called the apartments. They build apartments, huge apartment buildings that are right over an expressway. The cement columns that are holding up those apartments are completely, you could see the rusted rebar through it. As I was driving by, pieces of cement were falling down. This whole city is just coming down. I'm like, I got to get through this one more time. Let me get to this gig.
One more time. I
got
want
a
to cross this
firehouse
bridge.
gig I got to get to. You know what I mean? I got to get to this gig.
I won't ask again. Just this one time.
And that's above you in the side here. Forget about the potholes. I lost two. I got run flat tires. I lost 2 of them last year. And the line, they don't even care. Nobody cares about putting lines down straight or anything like that. The lines are all wiggly. When's anybody going to care? I don't understand it. You go to a lot of different other countries. Like, I just read that Germany is getting rid of 88 power plants that are fueled by coal.
Wow.
Gone. It's all going to be gone. It's all going to be all natural and environmentally friendly power in all of Germany. You go to Norway and Sweden and all of that, they've already done it. Wind power. I just saw this thing on Facebook where they want to put solar panels in the Sahara Desert. If you used 0.1% of the Sahara Desert and put solar panels there, you could power the world. The world.
Wow.
Why wouldn't we do it? There's wind everywhere. Take the wind.
Big business.
Big business.
That's it.
Period.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I want to punch the people that just say no. Why do they even have that much money? Like, I want to get enough money to be able to go to Disney World a couple more times. You know what I mean? Like, people with greed are so gluttonous, that they're just not satisfied no matter what.
Right.
And that's what I think is kind of holding the rest of society down. You remember, in order to you got to control society. The real powers that be, as Carlin said, the big club that we're not in, use famine, war, disease to keep us controlled.
Absolutely.
And then they dangle their keys. Like, remember you and I were talking the other day. They dangle their keys with sports, with politics, with disaster, whether it's man-made or not, to keep our minds on other things, But when you look inward and try to get your soul out in the little niche of the world that you have, everything opens up, and you eventually find yourself living the life that you want to live. I think that's where I'm at now, right? I mean, how do you feel?
At some point, you have to get by materialism, and we are in a media-driven world that it's about materialism and not spirituality. Unless, of course, you consider spirituality some big business selling you their particular personal brand of spirituality instead of a general sense of it. If you don't arrive at that point that you're looking for something more and something that matters and something that resonates more, I think you missed the whole point of this journey.
That's exactly it. I mean, I have so many friends and people that I know that are so into materialistic things. When I turned 50, I got myself a really good car, only because I drove shit cars my whole life and minivans and stuff like that. And I said, you know what? When I turned 50, I worked hard. I want to get myself a decent car. Plus, in my business, you get a little bit more respect when you have. Sure. When I showed up, because I would do gigs and I'd show up in a beat up minivan and be like, why are we hiring this guy? You know what I mean? It's like a clown car he's got pulling up. So I got myself a decent car. But other than that, I get satisfaction, personal satisfaction out of, in the summer, I plant plants that, I raise caterpillars and butterflies that way. I feed birds, and I like to plant plants. That's it. I like to keep my a zen of simplicity in my life. The more I go toward that, I find myself getting a real satisfaction in my life, in my soul, My wife gets it through yoga, but it could be anywhere. It could be a simple cup of tea. I mean, there's a couple times. And it is just
like one person at a time, doing something like that.
That's it.
It just makes all the difference.
Inward.
Like I lived in this town south of Boston, and we put in 2 windmills, and it paid for all the electricity of the town. Like every light was paid for, like just by putting in a windmill. It was, and so everyone, after we did that, everyone really started to look at their backyards like you do, and it made a really big difference.
And once stuff like that happens, then
it's contagious.
Yeah, it's contagious. We're all on the same page, and I liken it to like when I was over in Italy for my anniversary, they had siesta time where everything shut down. Like it's a given, right? Mike, you've been to Italy. It's your favorite place in the world.
Many times, and it's like paradise.
And
yes.
you love it. It's like paradise. So when you go over there and they siesta, it's like it's an unwritten thing that, hey guys, no matter what happened this morning, we're all gonna eat and then we're all gonna go to sleep for a little while.
And that's in the afternoon, right?
In the afternoon.
It's like 1 o'clock. Is it around 1 o'clock?
This is literally the cycle. You go, you eat your breakfast. You don't even eat breakfast. They have a cup of coffee or a cookie maybe.
Yeah.
Then they pile on for lunch. The big meal of the day is here. The most important meal is breakfast. Everybody knows.
Right.
Over there, it's lunch. Absolutely pile everything on. Go to sleep. The whole country goes to sleep. Stores close from about 1 until 4 or 5.
Wow.
And then everybody goes out, stays up late till 2, 3 in the morning. Restart cycle the next day. Every single day.
So the schools, the kids are doing that too at school?
I'm usually not there during the school year. I'm only there in the summertime, so I'm not sure about that. But I know that all offices and stores and all, they all close for that siesta. They just get the middle of the day off.
Wow.
And they work for a couple more hours after it's over.
Let's do that now. Let's go to sleep.
But it's a much calmer environment, And when you look at people, places in Europe, they're still old school. They haven't changed. We call it old school. In America, we're the only ones running 1,000,000 miles an hour with the hamsters on the wheel. Because we want to go and we want to get and we want to show. And that's why. Because we work so hard, and most of America is much more beautiful than a lot of places in the world. I'm not saying Europe, because like I said, Italy is beautiful. It's simple and old beautiful. There are 1,000-year-old buildings that are beautiful. We have more modern things happening here, and that's why everybody kind of wants to come here. Because of that. But should we be working that hard for those modern things to be better than each other, or should we just work to a certain extent? Because I know me personally, I have a number in my head. It's not a high number. That if I get to this number at some point in my life, I'm done. I don't need $1 billion. I don't need. But there are people. You ever see those Amazon African frogs they're under the water frogs? You put a piece of food like a worm, and they just go like this. They just shovel it in, and they're like really. That's what people are like gluttonous, and I really think it affects how society moves.
Everybody in the world sees the glamour that is America and what we're putting out there through media. They just don't see the strings attached until they get here.
That's right.
And then when they do, they realize there's a huge price for having those kind of materialistic
which is
things.
The commute. The commute and the fight and the this and the that. And I don't have this. Now I can't live here. I have to live there because they took this away and that away. The one good thing about the people, a lot of people that I know and that are strong and kind of balanced, in my life are people that even though they're knocked down, they keep on getting up, which you've done a million times. You've done it, Mikey. Everybody in this room has done it. So that's the thing, to get up and keep on going. That's the tough part. Especially when you're physically ailing. When you're physically ailing, it's the hardest thing.
The singer-songwriter Billy Falcon once said, and it's always stuck in my head, I've been knocked down, but I've never been knocked out.
Yeah.
And that is the way you have to approach life.
Billy Falcon.
You're going to go down.
He's a Long Island guy.
He was a Long Island guy,
Oh,
but
is
he lives
that right?
in Nashville these days.
Oh, is that where he is?
Yeah, he's been there for years.
No air conditioned, no cellular telephones. They go running down the highway with just my AM radio.
Long Island's answer to Springsteen, Billy Falcon.
Billy Falcon. He was a great guy. He had, what was the name of that song that I just sang? I remember it was on the radio.
Yeah, he had a few of them, so I'm trying to think what the title was.
You see him look at Grace. Yeah, he was. He's a Sunrise Highway type of guy, that guy. Yeah, you get your hot dog trucks, and what else could you want, So, all right, we're about out of time now, man. We're up to like 25 minutes.
Let's go to Nashville and see Billy. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go do that. I want to thank Sallie. Thanks for sitting in on this one. Thanks for being part of my show. Mikey, thanks for being part of the show. John, as usual, open invite whenever you want to come in.
Always a pleasure.
Tony Walker's a king.
Joey Kola is the man.
And thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon, guys.